let's take a look at a couple cameras that look very similar to each other. We've talked about these before in the past, but let's do some more camera tests. In fact, one of them we didn't do any camera test on at all last time. We just took a look at some of the sample footage that QooCam provided themselves. So we're going to be looking at the QooCam Ego and the WeeView Sid. That's a mouthful. So both of these were made after the initial digital 3D boom, where there was more standardized formats like MVC and MPO, but that have since been largely abandoned, except for the iPhone 15, which brought back next-gen MVC, thankfully. But these two cameras were made in that no man's land where SBS was used for both stills and video, trying to market as well to VR 180. So anyway, these two cameras do look very similar to each other. The WeeView Sid is slightly smaller. They both have wide interaxials, but the WeeView Sid has a slightly less interaxial, but it's still very wide. And it's also much lighter. It's like light as a feather, and the QooCam Ego is more like a solid brick. The other difference being that WeeView Sid does not have a screen built in. It's very minimal. It's easy to operate. You just press the buttons, it lights up to show you it's working, to switch between modes, photo or video. But you do have the option to use your phone as a wireless screen. And it does also come with a motorized gimbal for stabilization that either works by itself or can be used. You can use the controls to manipulate the motion, and has a tripod mount as well, and uses a micro SD card and charges via micro USB. And it also has a couple different modes. You can record either in the tall aspect ratio, which is more ideal for VR and introduces more fisheye, or you can also record in 3D TV mode, which is full width side by side 720p at 30 frames a second. So let's take a look at some camera tests from the WeeView Sid. Testing. Wonder how this looks and sounds. And now the QooCam Ego, like I said, it is significantly heavier, but it has some advantages. First of all, it has USB Type-C charging, which is more standardized nowadays, so it's much easier to just not have to take another charger with you. You can use the same one as your phone, most likely. And yes, even iPhones switch to USB-C now. Unfortunately, neither of these cameras have a flash, but the QooCam Ego does have better image quality. And I've said this before, I'll say it again, I think the QooCam Ego is a good replacement for the Fuji W3. Of course, there's pros and cons, so it's good to be informed of that if you are planning on doing that. But the Fuji W3 is widely regarded as a favorite among 3D photographers. So if you want flash and you're more interested in stills, then the Fuji W3 may still be preferred by you. It also has the big, beautiful, glasses-free 3D screen, and it does have a little bit of optical zoom, which, by the way, using optical zoom can virtually narrow the interaxial, which it has a very wide one of. But the reason I say this can be a competitor to it is because it has a similar wide interaxial. It takes good stills. In fact, besides the flash, I think it kind of takes better stills because the Fuji W3 often has a lot of noise in it. But the QooCam Ego doesn't. It takes nice low noise photos and videos, even in lower light, which is something that just wasn't possible at that price range back then. That decade did make a difference. And if you want video, then there's absolutely no question at all whatsoever. The Fuji W3 records dual stream 720p at 24 frames a second, but even though it's 720p on paper, it looks worse than standard definition, so I really not even sure if it's even really recording at 720p. But the QooCam Ego, on the other hand, records dual full HD, like I said, clean, not noisy, and it is also the only standalone consumer 3D camera, the only one that can record full HD at high frame rate. Yes, even the cameras like from Sony, from JVC, you're not going to get that. You're going to get 30 frames a second max. This one records full width 1080p at 60 frames a second for that beautiful buttery smooth motion. Some people hate because of cultural bias, but some people love because it's objectively better. But you do have the option to record at 30 frames a second as well. But honestly, I don't really know what the benefit of that would be, because even if you want to master at a lower frame rate, you can also get some great full HD slow-mo out of that. You know, record at 60, slow it down to a smooth 30 in slow motion. The QooCam Ego has a very small square screen that uses letterboxing to show you the whole picture, so at least you can see what you're shooting, but it's on a very small LCD. However, the interesting part is that it comes with a magnetic viewfinder that's optional, and this clips on and off fairly easily and works like a Viewmaster basically. So you pop that on, you can actually have a live preview in 3D or view your past stills and videos in 3D as well. So anyway, let's take a look at some test footage done with the QooCam Ego. microphone sound? Does it catch sound okay? Probably not that great. Well, we'll see. It's not windy right now, so it shouldn't be bad. And how does the high frame rate catch you if you're watching it in high frame rate? Is it noticeable? Too close. Alright, that's it for today. If you're interested in either of these cameras, they are available at varietyfilms.net. Add to your toolkit, get started with your 3D photography, 3D videography, and I'll see you next time.